Welcome to AP Workshops, welcome to a walk round. So it's been such a long time since we've done a little walk round of the workshop to show you what's going on. It's been so long, in fact, I've quite forgotten how to do it. But basically, it's so cold outside, it's so miserable at the minute, we can't even just get out there and do any road tests because I'm not riding bikes and customers' bikes in the rain, it's just miserable as sin. So what I've decided to do is have a bit of a wander around the workshop, show you what kind of work we've got in there, and give you a bit of an update about bikes that we've got in and what they do, and a bit of a rundown on what they do. So, welcome back. So welcome back to AP Workshops and welcome back to our first walk round of 2022. I still keep writing 21 for crying out loud, but never mind, we'll get that. So what we're going to do is show you the bikes that we've got in our workshop. Which ones are sales bikes, which ones are magazine bikes, which ones are... Let's just get on with it, okay? So what we've got here is number 156 of 300 Tuono Racing. Now this is one that we've bought in for sale. So this one, basically, we're waiting for prep on this one. Unfortunately, because of how busy the workshop is at the moment, we've not got around to prepping it. But this bike is for sale. It's going to be prepped before it goes and settled and made right before it actually goes out the door. But this one will be for sale. We have got here, it's a Colin Edwards replica that is in need of restoration. So basically we need to make sure that Melvin, who owns this, hi Melvin, I hope you're okay, mate. It was really good to see you the other day. Basically that needs putting back. Unfortunately that bike was in a bit of an accident, so it needed to go for frame straightening. But to be honest with you, the cost of frame straightening these days and the cost of buying a good Edwards replica these days, it needed doing, so no problems. This here is the Fast Bikes magazine bike. So this bike here, just so you know, is the bike that Bruce Wilson, who's the editor of Fast Bikes magazine, is going to be doing. I believe him and Johnny Mack are going to be doing, basically it sounds like torture to me, to be honest with you, but it's a 24-hour ride sounds like an iron butt ride to me, but from, I think it's Land's End to John O'Groats, 24 hours. This is the bike he's going to be doing in aid of cancer research. So, little story behind this bike. This bike is a tribute bike to Clive. Anybody that knows Fast Bikes magazine and Bruce and that kind of stuff basically knows that a company called Rapier Race Paints used to do a lot of their work for them. Clive, who was the guy who ran Rapier Race Paints, he died of cancer a couple of weeks ago. So what we're doing is building this bike as a tribute to Clive. So keep your eye on Fast Bikes magazine. They've done a lot for us just lately, and we're going to do a little bit and give a little bit back for those guys. We're going to build this bike up and make sure it's going to make a 24... By the way, Bruce, rather you than me. Still, there you go. Moving on, we have got, okay, this bike here, which is an SP. Okay, it is a genuine number 127 of... it's a slightly sad looking SP, unfortunately, at the moment. Number 127 of 150. It has been crashed. It has been dropped. But we are eventually going to restore this bike, and we are going to make it back and bring it back to its former glory as it is one day. So this one belonged to a guy that's basically sold us a couple of bikes as it sits at this point, because he's given up riding. So we're going to make this one right. We're going to make this one right again. It is the genuine article. It does have all of the new headstock, the adjustable headstock. It does have all the engine mounts, that kind of stuff, but it's got some aftermarket extras on it that we're going to get rid of, and we're going to make it right again on that one, no problems. So, moving around the corner, if you just mind that little bit of thing down there. That's it. That's it. Just mind what's going on. So basically, those of you who remember an SP that came to us, another SP that came to us many years ago that had an engine build or needed an engine build doing on it. The engine build was done, but unfortunately the gaskets that we've used for the engine build didn't work. So we're having to sort of rethink how to get this in. Right, sorry about that, the phone rang. I'm not going to Guess what? The phone's just rang again. So, third time's a charm. Hopefully we'll get to the end of the film without the phone going off again. So, we were talking about an SP. So, those of you who remember from many, many years back, we had an SP sitting in the corner waiting for an engine build to be sorted out. The engine build got sorted, it got done, and unfortunately the gaskets, the cylinder head gaskets that are unobtainium that we had made didn't work. So, we've had to take the engine back out again and start sorting the engine out again in that way. So, we've got a different way of being able to deal with that now. So that one's back in the area. This is one of the 2003 bikes that we're going to prep for sale. So if you are interested in black frame 2003R, we have two that we're going to prep for those. So happy days on that one. Give us a shout on this one. This here is a 2013, 2012 Tuono V4 that we are doing. Fixing a problem on basically as it goes. When it came into the building, then what happened was it used to cut out, pull the clutch in and it would cut out. So what we've done is we found as soon as we started the bike up, you could feel that there was something wasn't quite right. So first thing we did is check the valve clearances. Sure enough, slight hesitance off the throttle. Sure enough, we've got some tight valve clearances on this one. So I've managed to do the rear cylinder after work. Just going to start afterwards this one, just going into the front cylinders, and I'll sort of get that one sorted out and then we'll retest that one again. I think this belongs to Clint. Nice to meet you, mate. Nice to talk to you. You take care of yourself. Let me show you what else we've got going on here as well. So just over on the bench over here, we've got a gearbox that we've just done an inspection on. So this is a 2015 Tuono gearbox that's going in a 2011 V4 Tuono race bike that belongs to Craig, my mate Craig. Craig, we love you, mate. Stop worrying about it. We've got you on this one. Don't you worry about it. But
I love you, man.
We've put that back together. We're going to inspect that. That's all going back, and that's going back into his gearbox. That's going back into his engine. So we've got all of that sorted out. Follow me over this way. So those of you who are fans of the Facebook page, you remember the the carnage in the engine. Yeah.
Ooh, uh-oh.
This is a race bike, basically. The reason why this one has just kind of launched itself is because basically what happens is if you treat your RF a race bike and don't look at the service schedules, that's the difference. If you have a race bike, or if you have an RF that you treat like a track bike completely, have a quick look at the service schedules in your workshop manual. So basically every 4,600 miles there is quite a heavy service schedule on that engine. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. The reason being is if you are going to ride a race bike, you would refresh your engine every year. 4,600 miles is I think about 6,000 kilometres. That's pretty normal for an engine refresh. That's a year's racing and you do an engine refresh on that. So have a quick look at that. That's the reason why that one sort of basically launched itself. Client bought it unknown and basically didn't realise that it had just destroyed itself. So we've done an engine swap on that. That one's ready to go. That one's a little bit further down the line, so have a quick look at this one. So basically this bike, yeah. Not sure about the colour gold on that one, but you know, look. That bike belongs to our mate Nat. So Nat is the guy who was responsible. He's the brains, basically. He's the clever guy that you don't see in the background. There's a couple of those guys about. So Andy and Nat are the clever guys. These are the ones that do... This is the... If you look at the website, and if you look at how it works and how it's worded and things like that, and how it works and how it puts together and where it sits in Google, that kind of stuff, all of this kind of thing is down to Andy and Nat. So those guys are... Guess what? The phone's just rang again. Back in a minute! And we're back in the room. I am going to have to keep stopping while the phone rings. I am going to have to keep stopping. I apologise for that one. We can't even edit it out because, do you know what, it's actually quite funny. So Nat's bike, basically you guys that kind of come and hang out at the workshop or spend any time on the Facebook page, like I said, you know, that kind of me and a few mates, we kind of do a little bit of mini bike racing, that kind of stuff, just to sort of keep our hands in. Can't go big bike track days these days because I'm too much of a fanny. So basically we go and race little mini bikes, and that engine is one that we've got to do a refresh on because it's just been absolutely battered. But I'm not going to let Nat ride that with that colour frame because it's horrible. So I'm going to fix it for him. So Nat and so basically, oh, I'm so sorry. Nat and Andy, the guys that actually do the website, these are the guys that kind of, like I said, they're the guys that keep all the technology, but that one's Nat's. So anyway, big thanks to Andy and Nat. You guys are the best, and we couldn't do this without you. Thanks, guys. But Nat, sorry, mate. I'm going to change the colour of your frame. It's just bloody horrible. So, right, okay, moving on then. This is a 2018 RF. This was the bike that is absolutely beautiful, that had the engine changed. So we've just done that. That's finished. That's going today for us. Not a problem. That's all done. You've seen the damage that caused on that one. That bike over there was the, I don't know, a couple of months back, you might remember that one of our friends, David, bought this bike. This is the Haga tribute bike. So this is the one that's got the big bore engine in it, radial forks on it. So it's basically a Haga tribute bike. The tank started leaking around the back. So effectively, if you imagine, because it's one of the plastic tanks, the tank started leaking around the fuel pump aperture, and unfortunately it got to the point where I just couldn't save it anymore just because it had stretched so far. So for that kind of information, if you want to, have a quick look on the YouTube channel, have a quick look, you may well even be watching this on the YouTube channel, but if you put into the search bar AP Workshops tank or fuel tank, you can see there's bits and pieces of information on there on exactly what's going on, but the ethanol is attacking the fuel tank, so that's the bit that we've got to be a little bit careful of. But that one in there, he bought it a couple of months ago. We're going to replace the tank for him free of charge just because basically it's the right thing to do. We've got a tank, it's over being painted at the moment to make sure it's absolutely perfect because that bike is absolutely beautiful. So we'll move on. So welcome back. Sorry about that, we had to move a couple of bikes out of the way. We had to sort of stop a little bit. We'll probably have to stop again when the phone rings, but never mind, eh? This is a walk around, it is live, that's how it works. So this here, because I'm old.
84 years.
Some of you out there might be as old, if not a little bit older. Basically, some of you remember what this is. It is a Mark 1 RG250, but it is something a little bit special. If you have a quick look, those of you in the know and that realise that that engine there isn't a standard Suzuki engine. That is because that engine there is a 350 YPVS engine. This is a Yamagama. So basically it is a 350 Yamaha engine in an RG2. Bloody hell, there's the phone again. I'm back in a minute. And we're back in the room. Look, the phone rings. I'm going to answer it. That's how it works. Nothing can do about it, unfortunately. In fact, to be honest with you, I'm pretty glad it is ringing. So if it is you calling, thank you so much. If you do need to call us, don't hesitate. If I'm filming, I'll just stop. It's not a problem. Thanks very much. So, Yamagama. Like I said, all of you sort of guys that are sort of an age, I'm not going to say old because we never admit it.
Leveled up.
Leveled up, yeah. We're not going to, don't you remember what that is? That's my little bit of nostalgia. So, the 2020 Tuono, this is the bike. Yes, do you remember this one? If you, those of you who are subscribers to the YouTube channel would remember that this is the bike where the brakes didn't work when I pulled up at the first junction. Yeah, this is the one where I genuinely did soil myself a little bit and the air went slightly blue and I did have to apologise to my mum for swearing. But interesting things have just happened. So this is basically the shop bike. So this is the one where, if you have a quick look, what's going to happen is we've had an interesting deal with one of our sponsors to build a bike. We're going to build a bike for the NEC bike show for, I think it's this year. So we've got to build ourselves something. We're going to build us something a little bit special. So watch this space on that one. So this is going to be made into something a little bit rad. We've had the colour scheme approved. We've got the bits and pieces for basically the engine modifications that we're going to make to it. And oddly enough, we've just had a message, strangely enough, as I was just on the phone checking my messages as well. Yes, I can multitask. Basically, so sorry about that, we're back in the room. That was another telephone conversation, but no problem whatsoever. So I think we were on Tuono. Like I said, paintwork's been approved by the sponsor. The chassis modifications, I spoke to Lee this morning and basically he said, yeah, we've got all of that's under control. That should be basically sort of all heading in the right direction by the end of the week. And like I said, and all the engine modifications that we've got, I think, pretty much at the back of the workshop at the moment, waiting to go on. So it's just getting a bit of time to start that. I think we've got to do a few interviews before we start changing paint schemes and stuff like that with it. Quite an interesting little project. Hopefully it'll be able to sort of hop things up a little bit. That'll be quite interesting. And watch this space, because basically the whole point of this is to try and fill the sort of the social media and YouTube channels with something a little bit different. So watch this space for this face to go all kinds of scared, because the modifications we're making are pretty scary. It's fast enough as it is, for crying out loud, but we've got some pretty mad mods on that one. The SP, so this is the one that we were going to restore. Basically, the long short of it is that we've actually got the bike is sold. So it's sold already. We've sold the bike, so that's actually sold. We've just got to paint it, restore it, make it right for somebody before that goes, and make that right. So we have actually got that done, dusted. That's already sold, and that's. But like I said, we're going to do paint work on that one. So watch this space again. Probably find that as it goes along, the bodywork will be going off to be painted, wheels will be off to powder coated, and then it's just effectively the rest of it, just sort of fettling the rest of it. That's all done, dusted. The Tuono 660, the RS 660. I've just seen Amber going, no.
It's time for coffee.
It's time for coffee. The RS660. So we've been to the dyno with the RS660 to find out we've got a base level setting for it. How powerful was it in its standard trim? Massive thanks to Park It Racing. They've done all of that for us. These guys are absolutely brilliant. They do all of our dyno work for us. So if you ever need any advice on sort of like dyno work, that kind of stuff for these bikes, that is what we do. So basically these guys look after us over there. They've done a base level run for it. ARAI have supplied us an exhaust for this. So we're going to do exhaust fitment back to the dyno, see what we've got before we start mapping, and then we're going to start mapping, or see if we can start mapping and see what that brings for us, and let's see how that works. But that's on its way now as well. And then we've got the Tuono over there, but I've just spoken to the new owner on that one. So that bike there basically is an 08 Tuono that has got just over 1,000 miles on it from new. Yes, just over 1,000 miles on it from new. I couldn't believe it. The only problem with having a bike like that there from 08 sat there doing absolutely nothing is that it just deteriorates by itself. So we've got to do things like sort of the chain rusted, so we have to get rid of the chain, and then you have to do things like sort of look after the tyres have deteriorated, but that's all gone, all sorted. Then there's Craig's race bike. So we were talking about a gearbox earlier on. The gearbox earlier on is going on in this bike, so we've got to do cam chain tensioners, gearboxes. Craig, don't worry mate, we've got this covered. It is going to be done today. I'm all confident and I'm all up there with it, so don't worry about that. We'll get that sorted out. So thanks for bearing with us. I know it's been a bit of a telephone tussle with us, but we'll get there, no problems. If you want to get in touch, please don't hesitate. You can email us, sales@apworkshops.co.uk. If you want to contact us, you can call us at the shop, no problems. Have a quick look at the online shop, www.apworkshops.co.uk. And of course, before we go any further, our massive thanks to our supporters, ARAI helmets, RST clothing and Motul oils. Without this, thanks guys, I really appreciate it. And without you guys, we are nothing. So thank you very much. Take care, talk to you soon.